Hello YouTube, Gladiator Beast YCS champion and 2009 World Championship competitor Mike Cohanum here, and I am back from yesterday's regional qualifier in Queens, New York, which I competed in with Gladiator Beasts. I appreciate the response to my last video, and as promised, this is the follow-up to my last video where I talk about my performance in the regional qualifier. The beauty of a 9-round regional is that you do learn a bunch of things as you play through it. I did learn a couple things about my deck that I think I should maybe change, as well as a couple of things to look for throughout the course of the duel, which I could have done differently, which I'll talk about in this video. I took some notes after my matches so that I would remember what I wanted to talk about. Overall, I did go 5-4 in the tournament with my Gladiator Beast Tri-Brigade deck. I kept my expectations low, and my goal was to have a positive record. So I did succeed there, which means I beat more meta decks than meta decks were able to beat my Gladiator Beasts. There's no doubt that if I was chasing an invite to the World Championship qualifier, I probably should have picked up a meta deck and played that. But this was really a personal challenge because I wanted to see how well I could do with Gladiator Beasts against meta decks. And I'm personally not disappointed by my record. If you're interested in the deck that I used a card-for-card copy of the deck in my video from last week, where I talked about the deck I was going to use. I did not change it at all. That is the exact deck I used. I'll put a link down in the description to that video in case you want to see the deck list. I go through the card choices in that video and also put a written deck list in the description in case you just want to copy that. Here's the round by round of what happened. Round 1 I won the die roll and got to go first, but I opened with 2 copies of Fawalos and 2 cards that circled the deck for the Gistel-Adarix combo. I used the first of those cards, got hit by Golden Lockbird, and got OTK'd by Dracotail. So game 1 went poorly and was unwinnable. Then game 2 I lost because I misplayed, so I got 2-0'd. But the way I misplayed is kind of interesting, which I did learn from, and something for you to definitely think about in the future. So game 2, I open up with Gladiator Proving Ground, Rescue Cat, Cripple Tactics Talent, Harpy's Featherstorm, and a card I can't remember. And what I did was summon the Rescue Cat, use its effect, which resolved, got Kit and Gistel, and made Test Panther. I used Panther's effect to get Gistel, kind of betting that he didn't have another Golden Lockbird like he did in the first game. And then he hit me with Golden Lockbird, and I was just stuck with a Panther on the field and no way to get a Wind-Winged Beast on the field, even though I had the Harpy's Featherstorm. I used Cripple Tactics Talent to look at his hand, hoping to cut him off from being able to do anything, since obviously I couldn't draw cards with Cripple Tactics Talent. And I revealed his hand. It was 4 cards left since he had drolled me. He had Urgula, Dracotail Urgula, Nibiru the Primal Being, Dracotail Sting, and Rahu Dracotail. So I send back the Rahu and hope that he doesn't draw away to Fusion Summon, stuck with only the Panther on the field, and then he draws Rahu Dracotail, which is the card I returned to his deck, and OTKs me. But the mistake I made was I should have used the Proving Ground first. Because then I needed to resolve both the Panther and the Proving Ground to have the Gistel-Adarix combo anyway. And if he drolled me after the Proving Ground, I would have been able to look at his hand with the Tactics Talent and easily set up a Wind-Winged Beast using the Rescue Cat so that I would be able to hit him with Harpy's Featherstorm and then win on the next turn. So that was a huge misplay on my part. And then that would have pushed it into a third game. But that game 2 was completely winnable. So that was the lesson. Just think about your sequencing and vulnerabilities to droll. Especially when you draw Harpy's Featherstorm, because if you get stopped in your combo, you definitely want that backup for Featherstorm, which is what it's there for. Incidentally, that was the only time all tournament that I drew Harpy's Featherstorm. Even though I sided in 3 Featherstorm and the Crippled Tactics Thrust every time I went first. Cards are only good if you draw them, I guess. And I could have used it had I not misplayed, but I misplayed and I lost 2-0. Round 2, I played against Yummy. My opponent won the die roll and went first, but I opened with double Fawalos. He normal summoned a Yummy monster. I activated both copies of Fawalos. And rather than play through it, he actually just ended his turn instead of giving me draws. Obviously, I wanted to use the Fawalos before he can link summon Snackshy, so I would get the draws if he did it. The rest of my hand was also good, so I was okay with him just stopping and not giving me draws, because I then comboed off and OTK'd him. Game 2, my opponent... so we got mid-round deck checked, which... when that happens, you need to shuffle really well, because the judges typically will put your cards, sort your cards by monster, spell, and trap, with all of them in sequence. So it's not at all randomized. So you really need to randomize your deck. Game 2, my opponent drew horribly, and I don't know if he just didn't shuffle well before I cut, but he basically drew all spells and traps, and they weren't very good ones either. So he went first, he set 2 and passed. I used Gistle and he used the Black Goat Laughs to stop Gistle, but then I also had Fractal, which I used to make Dragacies, attack with Dragacies, tag it out, and then combo off. So I 2-0'd the Yummy deck. Round 3 was actually a crazy match. I played against a Salaman Great deck that used the Mystical Space Typhoon support in order to quickly get 2 level 3s on the field, and then Xyz summon Salaman Great Mirage Stallion, which is the bridge between the Mystical Space Typhoon strategy and the Salaman Great strategy. I've never actually seen that before, but it's really cool. The first 2 games were very fast, actually. I comboed him game 1 with your standard Gladiator combos. He didn't interrupt at all. When the opponent doesn't interrupt, you're usually going to win, because you set up all the negations. So I had all the Heraclinos, the Domitianus, the Little Knight, cards in my hand because I actually summoned Mouser at the end of the combo to send the Nerval and get Kit. And my opponent actually just drew a card and conceded. So I didn't know what he was playing going into game 2, if I remember correctly. Game 2, he goes first and combos me. He gets Salaman Great Roar and Salaman Great Rage face down with Link 4 on the field, and I couldn't play through that. So I take my first turn. I have a pretty good hand, but I just can't play through what he set up. And then I concede that game. And then we go into game 3 with a lot of time left in the round. But game 3 was actually so back and forth and crazy. I pull off, again, he has no hand traps to interrupt me turn 1. I pull off the full combo with all the negations on the field. He hits me with Dark Ruler No More to negate them all. So then I don't have much. I just have big monsters. He breaks my field. I use Claudius to send them all back. Basically combo him again, but he had set up so much on his field and so many interruptions. He had Promethean Princess in the grave. It ends up being a partial combo because some of it gets stopped. Then on his next turn, he basically combos again to kind of break down my field, and I think I was going to go into my next turn with just Gladiator Beast Heraclinos on my field, with Claudius used already, and then with seconds in the round, I just concede to avoid the double game loss, because I'm really here playing Gladiator Beast for vanity, and I didn't need to drag him down with me. Plus, it was kind of unclear. It was definitely unclear who was going to win, and the more I think about it, the longer I think the game would have dragged on. I think probably my play would have eventually been to try to request back the Claudius to send back all the fusions, but I would have had to somehow tag in a quest in order to do that, so that the grind would just continue. He had the Promethean Princess, which was kind of pulling him ahead throughout the course of the game as it dragged on as well. I may have misplayed in that third game at one point. In retrospect, I should have looked for a way to try to destroy his Link monsters with Geyserist twice in one turn, because he did have Balinks in the graveyard, so I wasn't really looking for a path to destroy when he could protect. But if I could have done it multiple times in a turn, which is not really something I was looking for, I was just trying to kind of attack over them with bigger monsters to kind of build the better field. I might have been able to beat him on the third turn if I had like committed to that strategy and really thought it through. But as the time was kind of ticking down, I also got a little bit sloppy at one point in Game 3. I forgot about Promethean Princess when there was like under 5 minutes in the round. So Game 3 was a weird game, but it was actually a really good game. So that was my second loss in the regional. Round 4, I played against Malice. I won 2-1. I comboed him game 1. And then he couldn't play through all my negations and conceded. Game 2, he shiftered me, and the shifter hurt a lot. So he didn't have the best hand, but because I was shiftered, I was kind of I was pretty much stopped. I opened up with Tri-Brigade cards, which I couldn't really use. I couldn't use at all under Shifter. I think he had a kind of a weak start. He finished with, like, ended his turn, I think, with just SP Little Knight on the field. So I think my turn was, like, summon Fractal and attack it. And then I think I Gistled to maybe... I think I built up, like, a field of monsters. It was kind of a weird game, but by turn 3... he had, like, broken into the Malice combo while I was kind of beaten down by the Shifter for my first turn, which was turn 2. But then in Game 3, I full comboed him again. Got out all the negations, ending on Mouser, sending the kit. Sending the Nerval to search for kit. And so I had the 2 monster effect negations on the field, the Little Knight, and the Heraclinos with a bunch of cards in my hand, and he just goes Allure of Darkness, I negate. He Allure of Darknesses again, I negate. He uses Gold Sarcophagus, I negate, with Heraclinos each time, and then he concedes. So that's how I beat Malice, and then I was 2-2 in the tournament. Round 5, I played against Vanquished Soul K9. I won the die roll, but got Fuwalost. As I mentioned before, the deck really can't play through Fuwalos. It's brutal, and it happened to me quite a bit in the regional, so it's unfortunate, but, you know, it's a weakness of the deck. Top decks can play through Fuwalos, giving the opponent 1 or 2 draws. This deck really can't. It gives the opponent way too many draws. So he Fuwalos'd me, game 1. I went first game 2, and he double Fuwalos'd me. In game 2, when he double Fuwalos'd me, I actually used Droll and Lockbird after he drew the first 2 cards off of the Fuwalos. Thinking maybe I can play through that and on, like, a Claudius or something. Like a Claudius Little Knight play under the Droll, with him not drawing cards while I'm summoning from the deck. But he actually used... He also had Holly Sue in his hand, special summoned it. This is after I Drolled him. Special summoned Holly Sue from his hand, and revealed 2 cards to take control of my Keras before I could use Keras' effect. So it was pretty brutal. The Fuwalos and the double Fuwalos, that was probably the most brutal round I had. Not much to say about round 6. I got paired up against someone, I lost the die roll, then they repaired the round, and my opponent didn't show up. So after 10 minutes, I got a win. So I guess I didn't actually win more games than I lost. I guess I won exactly as many as I lost, matches rather. Since of the matches I played, I was 4-4, because I got 1 free win in the tournament. Round 7, I played against Hekahan's K9 Kashtira. It was kind of a weird deck, but I don't know. He made a bunch of plays that I didn't think made a lot of sense. And then I also just comboed him in games 1 and 2. And he couldn't stop it. He couldn't do anything about it, even in the game he was first, and I won 2-0. Round 8, I played against Anamat Raziel, which I think is actually my worst matchup. I go first, and I set up the full combo with the 2 Domitianus, the Heraclinos, the Little Knight, but it just wasn't enough. he immediately used X to send Meteorologic Aggregator, which negated one of the Domitianuses. I used its effect to negate one of his Ryziel monsters and destroy it with the other Domitianus. He eventually threatened my entire field with something. I can't remember what card it was in game 1, and I was forced to use Little Knight to banish the 2 Domitianus, which would then come back on the next turn. Oh, it was Exciton Knight. He summoned Exciton Knight after I had used the 2 Domitianus' effects, used its effect to try to clear my field, and then I used... to successfully clear my field, really, but I chained Little Knight's effect to protect the 2 Domitianus by banishing them till the end phase. So then I had no cards, pretty much, other than the Domitianus. That was the 2 Domitianus that were banished. So I thought I could mount a comeback on my next turn, which was my mistake, thinking I would have a next turn, because he summoned Tellarknight Ptolemaeus, gave it 7 Xyz materials, and skipped my next turn. So by the time the two... So in the end phase, my Domitianuses still came back. But with another turn to use all the Ryziel effects, their negations just wasn't enough. And he was able to make Eclipse Winds and I think double its attack points. Or he made Detonator, I think he made as well. And he was able to OTK me before I took another turn, even though after using Exciton's effect, he couldn't inflict damage to my life points on that turn. So that game was crazy. And then game 2 was nearly identical, because I set up the combo again. I think I wasn't able to bring out Heraklinos, because he had some interruption for my combo. And then he evenly matched me. I used Little Knight's effect to protect my 2 Domitianus again by banishing them till the end phase, and he turn-skipped me again with the effect of Tellarknight Ptolemaeus by giving it 7 Xyz materials. So again, even though he evenly matched me in main phase 2, even though he evenly matched me in main phase 2, my turn was skipped, and he was able to kill me on the next turn. But it's a really hard matchup. Even if the opponent just summons Detonator with a bunch of materials, it's surprisingly hard to beat, because the deck is just really vulnerable to everything just being destroyed. And as you gain more effects, they just destroy more cards. Luckily it's not a very popular deck in the metagame, but I think Automat Ryziel is probably the worst matchup I can get. That gave me a 4-4 record in the tournament. In round 9, I played against Branded. It was just a straight Branded deck, and I won that match. There wasn't anything too memorable about it. Typhon was pretty good when I summoned it against Mirror Jade, but I won 2-1, I think, and finished the tournament 5-4. So that is my regional qualifier experience with Gladiator Beast Tri-Brigade. If you enjoyed this video and want to see more Gladiator Beast content, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. I do plan to make a video soon about the new card in the next core booster set, which enables a new and more powerful 1-card combo for Gladiator Beast Tri-Brigade. So that is exciting. Again, I competed in this regional qualifier before that card is released, so that card is not yet available to use. But I do think Gladiator Beasts are going to get a lot stronger with the new Tri-Brigade card in the next set. So stay tuned for that.